Can you answer any questions anybody has?
Can I get a question?
Good job with your math.
Senator Lee and Ron, I ask you this because you're on judiciary and you appropriate for judiciary. This Justice Department probe of the Mar-a-Lago record is still going. And we got reports of more classified documents now found. What do you make of the Department of Justice investigation, of the significance of the records?
Yeah. That investigation's ongoing, and I don't have access to those documents. I can't speak to that, but we're here to talk about other stuff.
Senator Lee, you had mentioned, and I was wondering for the rest of you all, that you were going to also, you're going to stick to that commitment to not advance the NDAA because it's missing this key piece here that you guys were pushing for last week. Are you all in agreement on that? And
Yeah, I am.
And if not, did you have a plan moving forward to try to leverage that?
Well, one of the discussions that we had at lunch today was whether or not an additional amendment could occur on the NDAA, such that we'll have an amendment to reinstate the soldiers with back pay. So there is a possibility that we may be able to negotiate that amendment, which would be one step better than what we have in the bill currently.
And we'd be willing to do that. We'd be willing to support cloture if we got an agreement on a vote on that. A vote on that would be germane. It's a germane amendment. As a germane amendment, it would be subject to being adopted at a simple majority threshold, and I'd take that.
Scott.
Yep.
Scott, what this is, the entire conversation is kind of boiling down to is the idea that you didn't have a plan and an agenda, just with kind of where you were running against Majority Leader McConnell about. Do you think that this whole push that you're going for kind of ties into how Warnock won in Georgia? I mean, why do you think Walker lost yesterday in Georgia? And do you think that it's time for your party to kind of step away from Trump when it comes to these races?
Well, I think first off, every race is an individual race, and to me, it's very disappointing. As you know, I was very optimistic going into November. I think we all have to figure out what we have to do differently. 70% of the country, I think it is, thinks we're heading the wrong direction. I know as a group, what we are hoping to do is let's focus on the issues and try to redirect where we get some positive things done for the American public. I think every one of us, and I think every senator came up here to do that. I just think we've got to now do everything we can to make that happen. I think it's a big win to what we did with the NDAA. I think that we've got to figure out how we get our fiscal house in order. I think Mike and I came up at the same time, but Senator Lee and Senator Paul have been up here. Why aren't we passing budgets? I mean, just doesn't make any sense. We're business guys, and I borrowed a lot of money at one time. I had to go to the bank with a plan, and if I didn't make my plan, I was in trouble. So we've got to start doing that.
I've got a quick on that. When it comes to the fiscal side of it, there's no entity that could get by with running, again on the numbers, a 20 to 30% loss. And this is money given to us by taxpayers. You would not have, obviously, the printing press in the basement. You would not have a credit card that you could keep swiping. So, and when it gets down to the political stuff, it's very clear for me. We better learn from what's happened in the last presidential elections over time, where we lose the popular vote. We won the popular vote here through the U.S. rep seats. That's one good bit of news by 5 million votes. But if it's not clear to see that we get outmaneuvered in the tactics of how you win these elections, they found out that they had movable voters in Arizona, Nevada, and Pennsylvania, and got to them with the message. Probably made the difference in those areas. Candidate quality does count. And then you could never have anything that's going to resonate generally if there's not a clear plan of what you're for. We are basically for nothing, and we complain about it along the way and then say, well, maybe we'll tell you after we're elected. It's not going to work. Democrats are political enterprisers. This place is kind of their growth business and cathedral all wrapped into one. We are flat-footed, and we're going to keep seeing the same results if we don't do something different. And you can't get by with any of that, again, in the real world because you keep losing.
Senator, jumping off of Frank's question there, you predicted a GOP majority, and here we are with the one seat lead for Democrats. What went wrong? Is former President Trump's endorsement the kiss of death, as another Republican senator said today? And how do you plan to work across the aisle with Schumer and Democrats, and also within your own party with McConnell?
So I think with regard to the election, one thing Democrats have done a good job. They got their mail-in. They did a better job with early votes, mail-in, and early voting. We've done that, for a long time in Florida. I do great with mail-in ballots and with early voting because we work at it. We all have to start doing that. I think we do have to have a message that when Republicans run, you say this is what Republicans are going to get done. Every race is going to be a little bit different, but we've got to have an agenda. We've got $31 trillion of debt. We've got inflation 40-year high. We've got crime. We've got open border. We've got to show the American public that we have a reason. There's a reason to vote for us, and we have to tell them why they vote for us. Here's my experience with endorsements. I got none of them in 10. All right, and I won. I was not the establishment candidate. I think people vote based on what they think is important to them. It's generally their economy. It's generally their kids' education. It's generally the crime. That's how people vote. They don't vote because one of us tells them they should vote that way.
We'll take one more question, guys.
What's the explanation for why the JCPA was excluded from the NDAA? It looked like it was going in at one point, and then there was blowback from Facebook and Meta. Now it's not in there. How do you avoid the optics of, again, big tech dictating policy in Washington?
I think on the NDAA, the issue was we had to keep things tied to the NDAA. NDAA shouldn't be a vehicle that we have all these extraneous bills that people would like to get done at the end of the year that might not be able to get done on their own. And I think that's just one example of a bill that it should go through. If it's a good bill, it should go through the process on its own, and we should have debate on the floor, and then whether it passes or not, it shouldn't be tied to a must-pass bill like the NDAA. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you guys. They called it out.